Yeah. I mean, they can hear us. They can't see us. Now they can see us.
Whoa, that was crazy.
Space does weird things.
Yeah. All right. If you're watching this and you haven't seen
Hi,
Buds in
Sophie.
Space Longshot, you're in the wrong place. This is a talkback, and mostly I want to just get your feelings about the fact that, I mean, first of all, this long shot is a lot different, not only than other charmed persons long shots, not only like long shots.
Schlong shots.
Long shots.
Schlong,
You
that's
definitely
that's,
said it, schlong shots.
Roll the tape. I said long shots.
There's no longer long shots.
Look, my last name is
Schlong
Schwartzwalder.
shots.
Sometimes I put an SH in the
Schlong
front
shot
end.
sounds like a gay porn company.
Yeah.
Or a really fun shot at a bar.
Yeah.
Okay, let's cut all that out and we'll start now. Welcome. Welcome to the Talkback. Obviously this long shot was different than other Charms Persons long shots, in not only with the the module and the game system, but the length and a lot of stuff and the content.
Sorry.
Okay, let's cut that out. We're gonna restart.
Emily said in the chat that you definitely said schlong shots.
Dang it. Okay, so I'm gonna start just by explaining myself.
Good, I've been waiting.
And then I'll kind of ask you 3 questions about certain individual parts, but
Okay.
really, my goal with this schlong shot whenever I watch like tabletop RPG content, like D&D mostly, I always get caught up in the combats. I love playing D&D combat, but whenever I watch it, it's it slows down. There's a lot of mechanics. Suddenly there's the story kind of grinds to a halt, and I always kind of butt up against it. There are notable exceptions to that, like Dimension 20's combat's great, but that's because it's edited and it's got a lot of production that obviously like a stream like this where we're all in separate places can't afford to do. So the Hell long shot, I edited the podcast version a lot to kind of get rid of some of the mechanical dice rolling, which I think is really good. But I think my a dream of mine would to be make a podcast, D&D podcast that's solely made to be a podcast rather than which that's down the road. That would include everyone recording their own audio, that kind of thing. But for now, I wanted to find a game system that's the combats or the conflict wasn't so bogged down, which is why I chose the system 24XX is what it's called. And obviously, as you 3 know, it's really simple. There's basically nothing to it. I think there are some parts of that game that have added elements like stress levels, which could impact your rolls, which I didn't add. I think maybe I should have. I don't know. I'm interested to hear your opinion about that. But really, I chose the system because it's just, hey, make one roll and the odds, what's going to happen. There's really nothing else to it. And I think in some ways I think it accomplished what I was trying, which was a more streamlined narrative focus. That's the goal is to have someone sit down and watch as if it was a TV show. Whether that worked or not, I guess we'll find out. I guess I'll pick you. I'll eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Eric.
Yes, hello.
What did you think about the system 24XX? Was it too little? Was there not enough mechanics? How did it work for you?
I liked it a lot. I think it worked really well as like a couple episode thing. If it was a thing that went on forever, I think it may have struggled there. I mean, it still would be fun. But it worked fantastic for a couple episode thing, short time. And that's coming from somebody who loves combat with battle maps and all the technical stuff that goes with that. So I mean, I really enjoyed it. I feel like, I don't know, from a DM, it seemed like you were able to like flow really well because you're not bogged down by having to have like, monster stat blocks and battle maps and stuff. So if we want to go off into a crazy direction, you can like follow us maybe a little bit easier. I don't know how it was from your perspective.
Yeah, I think that's one of the strong suits of it, where really the only thing that I have to think about is the risks that your players could undertake by your actions. So like really for me, it was just like, oh, you want to do this? Okay, I know I didn't make a stat block for this plant creature, but I don't know, it's going to attack you.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. All right, Sophie, anything, what thoughts about this system, likes, dislikes?
Yeah, no, I think similar to you, I think that a long session of combat can kind of take one out of it. I think it's really hard to keep up a sense of role playing through combat as a player, and that this definitely removes that burden because it's so quick and you're making choices based on what your character would do, and not off of like a list of like moves that you have, but what would you do in this moment with the limited tools that you have. I think that this was a really great first like encounter with it for all of us with this system. I think that I really appreciated the simplicity of it going into it as a new system, and I think that like expanding on what we were doing, I think with those stress levels, as you mentioned, having some other modifiers on our roles and our experiences would be something I'd be interested in seeing. But I think that the quick pace of this, and it mostly being some role played decisions in the moment of like how are we getting ourselves out of this predicament that we've started by our own actions is really fun, and that it can just kind of continuously cascade into some chaotic spaces. And I would say that while Eric's right that you can follow us a little bit more, I think that the potential of the things going completely off the rails is even higher than it is in D&D, because there's very little room in the middle for a neutral outcome, that it either is critical success or a critical failure, and you can kind of determine what those ramifications are by you setting what those outcomes are. But boy, I don't know what you would do if we like blown up the ship on that first launch. So
yeah, I thought about that for sure. Like what happens if you just never like make it there? And like, a little peek behind the curtain is that I basically rewrote what I had planned not from scratch, but I'll totally not, or partially at least, before each session.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Just based on like what happened in the previous session.
Yeah. Because I think, I was nervous about the premise of the characters going on a spaceship to like a place. Insofar, I mean, I love that premise, but insofar I was nervous that it was a little bit like, railroady, because you're on a ship and you like can't do anything other than go to that place. So that's part of the reason why I rewrote it, because I wanted to make it a little bit more tailored towards your specific actions and like your specific character arcs. So Zach, you can do you have any thoughts about the module? Like, did you feel like it was like your actions had consequences, or did you feel like you were just on a rail, so to speak?
Yeah, no, I mean, I really liked the module, and I echo everything that Sophie and Eric have said, and I also feel like if anything, I felt more flexible, and like I had more choices with this module, because there didn't have to be mechanics for everything. You know, like in D&D, if your party comes up with something or if your party says something, you as the DM on the fly have to come up with a bunch of mechanics that match the current system so that they can interact with said object or creature. But in this, there's such simple mechanics that you can just say yes and let things happen and not have to worry about coming up with the mechanics of whatever that thing is. So like for instance, you know, me just like kind of improvising in the moment saying that I have like a wrist pad with Amy on it. Like that's just something that you're just able to say like yes, and you're able to do this and this and this. So I thought it was. I didn't feel like it was railroady at all. And I, piggybacking off of something that Sophie said, I also feel like the stakes were higher with these more simple roles because D&D gets to the point where for certain things your modifier is so crazy that like even a somewhat low roll you're going to be fine. But with this, it's all completely fate, and it's like no, the percentages stay the same, and it's like, you know, it's, and like Sophie said, it's either 50-50. It's either gonna work or something's gonna go bad, and it just is depending on how bad it's gonna go. So I liked it. I really liked the flexibility and the stakes.
Yeah, cool. That was the vibe I was going for. I like the fact that there was a lot fewer roles, and you know, I was hoping that the fewer roles would make each role a little bit more consequential, which I think worked pretty well, honestly.
I think it really did, yeah.
Yeah, there was a couple roles at the end there that were that was good. Yeah, and like I think part of the reason I think I told you all before the first session that like you can I wanted you to just improvise anything, like the wristwatch or the wristband. Like I wanted you to be able to kind of create the world. Like
yeah,
in my mind, the ship, like what was going on inside the ship was, I had ideas about what was going on, but I really just wanted it to be what you thought, you know, your character would do. I was just trying to, you know, make it, you know, yeah, because I was, you know, trying to cognizant of keeping your characters a little bit in charge.
For sure, yeah. It allowed for some pretty solid collaborative storytelling with you just kind of like being the guide of that story.
Yes, nice. Yeah. Another thing that I tried in this session, because I think music is an important part of like storytelling, and especially TTRPG. I made a mistake in the Hell campaign where I didn't include music while we played because I knew that I was going to edit the podcast later. Mm-hmm. And I think, you know, I actually made a bunch of music and layered for each of the individual characters for the Hell and like layered in. I think that worked well. But
it was awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Listen to it, you should go listen.
Yeah, it is really, really cool.
But in the moments with no music, I think it kind of took away from the experience a little bit. So I wanted to remedy that. So I tried. I did a little bit of like, you know, producing. I guess I don't know if that's the right word, but I had certain song. I in the Roll20 music, I had different playlists for different like emotions and moods. Mm-hmm. And I listened to tons and tons of music, and I carefully curated each of the music. I made a couple of songs, and I was like, okay, if this happens, I'm probably gonna play this song. I don't know if that even like came across at all. Did you notice, or how did that make you feel?
I mean, especially when I think you made the song when we were taking off.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. That's the moment that really stuck out to me.
Yeah, it's like as soon as you started describing it, I mean, the music like kicked in, and it all fit perfectly.
Yeah, it really put me right in the middle of it and made me feel like what was going on, because I mean, it didn't bother me, honestly, as much as I thought it was going to, not having music in the Hell campaign. But I do feel like there is something nice about having that. I mean, music elicits such emotion anyway, like everyone knows that. And so I think it is nice to have that in moments. And I felt like the stuff that you wrote specifically was all really awesome and really added a lot to the moments. Like it made... Especially because like we were so silly and goofy, which is amazing, and I love that. But the moments that you specifically wrote music for ended up being like very like poignant, atmospheric moments, which kind of grounded the whole thing, which was nice. Yeah, I liked it a lot.
Nice. Okay, cool. That a little bit of an experiment there. I was worried that it would, DMing while also curating music on the fly. It was a tough thing. So I put in honestly too much effort to be prep work beforehand to okay, so another thing that I experimenting a little bit with a lot shorter sessions. No break, just I think none of our sessions were really over an hour and a half. I think my DM style in general is pretty fast paced, but I wanted it to feel like a compact story. I really wanted it to be like, oh, this, if you see this on YouTube, this is something that I don't have to spend the rest of my life listening to catch up. I can just sit down. It's only like 4 hours total or whatever, 6 hour total. So I guess Sophie did, because it was so short and we kind of covered a lot of ground. Did it feel rushed to you? Was there how did you think the length of the sessions were?
No, I think the length of the sessions were great. I liked kind of ripping through the story. I think that because there's less dice rolling, in spite of the sessions being shorter than what we usually play, the 3 or 4 hour session, I think we got just as much, if not maybe more, done in that time that we had, because there's less dice roll, more time for us to be interacting with each other, more engaged, and especially with this being 3-4 people, that it felt far more engaging to me than some of the other sessions, just because
What's up?
there is that constant moving aspect to it that you've got only what you bring in to kind of jump in at any time and add to any kind of moment. And it's just beat the entire time. And these sessions kind of flew by, but in a really great way, in that I was totally engaged the entire time with the story and with what the other players were getting up to. So I liked this size.
Nice. Zach, Eric, thoughts on session length?
Yeah, I mean, same. I once again, I was a little hesitant. Not hesitant. I was preparing myself to be bummed that there wasn't more. I was just preparing myself to be I wish we could do more. But at the end of every session, I felt satiated, and it felt like I think what Sophie said is right. If we would have had more people, it maybe would have been left me feeling wanting, but we had 3 people and it was so fast paced that I felt like we all got plenty of moments, and we also accomplished a hell of a lot. We did a lot, I feel like, in those basically a little over 4 hours. So yeah, it didn't bother me at all.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the hour and a half, it felt like we played it just the same as a 4-hour session.
And then, except I got to go to bed earlier.
Right. It's nice that the system allows us not to get bogged down in what spell am I going to cast out of this guy. I mean, you're just able to, a lot more fluid.
Exactly.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, part of the reason I made it shorter also is, it's a weekday, and I know that after work, my attention span is a little less than it would be normally. Sometimes I get anxious, tired towards the end of a long session, so I'm just trying something new. So
I like that.
I think I'll probably stick to, if I do long shots in the future, to this format, most likely.
Yeah.
I'm trying to differentiates my DMing style from what else we have on Charmed Persons.
Are you alluding to the fact that this year's Cabin in the Woods one shot will maybe be a schlong shot?
Well, anything could be a schlong shot. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. that that Cabin in the Woods is fun too, because that's not even really D&D either. So,
Michael says, "Thanks for the giggles, Bugs. Had a blast watching." Thank you for watching, Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
Oh, are we the Bugs? We can call ourselves the Bugs.
Oh, that's nice.
I think you could easily add you can add whatever you want. If you wanted to add a couple spells or add like specific weapon actions, stuff like that, you could easily throw stuff like that in there. The system's just
Yeah.
I think it'd work.
That's a good idea. Like, I was thinking of, each of your characters having a specific ability rather than just having like proficiencies in certain aspects.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That might take away from the kind of playground aspect of the system. I don't know. Something I'm mulling over in my head.
Darth Mauling.
Yes.
Well, and yes, you just said playground aspect. That it does kind of feel like that exact sort of space where where Zach can say, "Well, I have a wrist thing, so I can talk to the ship." And like, it wasn't so far as like, I have a bulletproof vest on or anything like that.
I had force field on.
Yeah. But it
You
was
didn't shoot me.
oh, here's this quick solve. I've got this. Why wouldn't I have this? Because we're coming to space and we should be prepared for this moment. So can't I communicate in this way, kind of a thing? That is just go for that simple, obvious solution and just like expect that other people are going to be able to embrace that and accept it and keep rolling with it.
Yeah.
The assumed yes in this space was pretty fun.
Yeah.
And kind of liberating to just like kind of come up with it. And that's, part of, I think, playing in a space that is, we're bugs going to space. You should feel creatively liberated to do what you want to do. So
that's some insight in why I chose bugs in space, which maybe seems just crazy out of the blue, but there's a method to my madness. First of all, I like space. I like sci-fi. And I like
bugs.
And I like that my long shots are kind of goofy. I like staying in that space. And I wanted to kind of keep that mindset. And so I was like, what could go to space? I don't know, bugs are fun. I don't know. That was like kind of basically it.
Yeah.
And I wanted it to, I didn't want it to be like kind of alien-esque sci-fi. The sci-fi that I gravitate towards is kind of, meditative human emotions sci-fi, which is why it's bugs, but I wanted your characters to kind of be grounded to like a little bit of something, even though you're traveling through space, which is why I started it on Earth. That's why I chose that. I actually didn't, that creature that almost killed Derby Sweets in the finale, I didn't include until like maybe 15 minutes before the session.
Wow, that's interesting.
I didn't really want a creature like a monster, like a sci-fi alien monster, because that's kind of already what D&D is. There's like a lot of like crazy monsters. But one of your characters was like literally a security officer, so and I think it added some well-needed tension to that final session, so I'm glad I added it.
Caused us all to get in the same suit.
Yeah.
3 bugs, 1 suit.
Okay.
One arm.
Do you guys have like questions for me about
Digby, what the fuck? What the fuck was Digby? You tell me about Digby. I gotta know where Digby came from.
Digby was wild.
Digby, a little bit of a red herring in that I wanted to kind of convey the emotion of being lonely, like in a planet, by yourself, wanting to find friends. So my thoughts about Digby were, I wanted him to be a little naive and just really wanted to be friends, but also, he's a kind of a goofy looking alien, and I think you were all immediately suspicious of Digby, which I thought was fun. But I mean, honestly, that's totally fair. And like, if you wanted to like kill Digby, that would have been sad for Digby, but maybe that would have been warranted. But like, my goal with Digby was innocent naivety, trying to find people to be friends with.
I love it.
Did Digby survive?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Digby survived.
Really?
Is he immortal, just floating out in the middle of space
I think
alone?
Digby survived. Yeah, a immortal creature.
Was he supposed to look like that? Like, is that what his kind looks like?
It was when I found the Mid-Journey AI portrait.
I was gonna say.
What other potential bug puns did you have that didn't get to be? If any.
I don't know if I had any other bug puns.
Or did you have any characters that we didn't get to meet?
Well, I had a monologue-esque prepared if you decided to follow Al the human to his shuttle and actually like interact with Al, and I think he had some motivations that I don't think you guys ever even realized or found out about.
No,
we pretty much immediately
we
hated and distrusted and wanted to kill Al.
We wanted to get to Earth for some reason, right?
Yeah, and honestly, I don't think I'm gonna tell you. I like the mystery of it.
I love it. I love it.
I do wonder, because we killed the chameleon.
Yeah.
That was a question unanswered for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yes, that was also something. The chameleon was essentially in contact with Digby in a way, and was trying to steal the bug ship to make it to that planet.
Why was he like an outcast from his lizard people?
In my mind,
what's the story?
In my mind, Digby and this chameleon bonded over the fact that they were both singular creatures.
Oh, okay.
I chose a chameleon because I don't know if this is a Shalomelian. I don't know if this is a characteristic of chameleons, but in my mind, they like blend in. They
seem to be
like
lonely
loners.
creatures. Yeah.
That's why I chose a chameleon.
I never thought of that. Now every time I see a chameleon, I'm just gonna feel sad.
Where's your friends, bud?
Yeah.
I had a friend who had a chameleon as a pet, and he was an asshole.
Well,
so
there you go.
don't feel too sad.
Why you shot the chameleon? So get some sort of
trauma.
Yeah.
From Sophie's past.
My friend named their chameleon Steve Buscemi, though, which I think was
that's great.
A little rude.
I love it.
That's funny.
I'm trying to think if I have any other questions for you.
Yeah, I had my first draft included a lot of like antagonistic bird people.
I guess that would be a question. Like, what were some of the like rewrites that you did? Like, what was rewritten? So bird bad people.
Yeah, let's see. So I mean,
Eric would love that.
Yeah.
Part of the fun of going on a mission to an unknown planet to find alien life is the unknown, which is fun. But then when you are the person who has to come up with the unknown, it's like, oh shit, what do I do? So like, what was on that planet changed in my mind basically after every session.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I like I said, I didn't want it to be like weird, creatures or anything like that other than Digby, but I wanted it to be a little bit more grounded, because the rest of the sessions were weird. You guys were bugs, like it's all kind of goofy, like off the wall, and so I changed it to be like a human in the end, because I wanted it to be I said, a little bit more grounded and real.
Oh, will you tell us, or are you gonna keep us in the unknown? Who built that place on Planet Z?
Do I want to tell you? No, I'm not gonna tell you.
No, I still think it was humans somehow. I don't know how, but I think it was humans somehow.
I think it was humans as well.
It was the dwarves.
Space dwarves.
Turns out this was Tearoth years later.
Yeah, it seems like a cop-out to not tell you, but some of my favorite stories.
It is
It's open to interpretation, which I really love that aspect of it. So
for sure, yeah, it's a cop-out.
I like there's a mystery part of it. And,
No,
if I just tell you, it's probably it'll be disappointing.
No, I love it. What about the plants? I don't know if I necessarily understood like what that overgrowth was. Was that just like alien life on the planet? Listen, you told us to ask you questions.
Yeah,
it's Matt's climate change.
He's got to come up with an answer right now. Is the reason why.
So the plants were okay. I'll tell you that the human there, Al, who at the beginning was communicating through like an AI, but was a human.
Oh, he was like full on a human.
Yes, but had been living on this planet for a long time and was a botanist who was essentially using the like organic life force of plants to sustain his own life.
Oh yeah, we would have killed him for sure.
I think he was so scary. That's why I didn't want to follow him down that path.
I was like, we're gonna die. If we go face this guy, we're dead.
Yep.
We have a better chance of all climbing into the same suit, breaking the atmosphere.
Yeah, that'll be better.
With a jetpack, I forgot we did that. That was so funny.
In my head, like those jetpacks are barely any like they're puffs of air.
For zero gravity.
They are for zero gravity. Yeah. How did you expect us to get off the planet?
Yeah.
I did not expect Goldie to die, and I expected her to show you where her shuttle was, or I expected you to, have a confrontation with the human on the planet before he got into his shuttle, and then like just take his shuttle.
I'm sure you also didn't expect me to put the base to self-destruct.
Yeah, that was funny. As soon as you did that, I was like, okay, I'm glad that I included this plant creature.
Yeah.
So, and you guys, when you did, I realized you didn't know where the shuttle was. Everyone who involved was dead. So when you're like, hey, I didn't know how you were getting up. I truly had no idea. And then, so when you were like, hey, let's use the jetpack, my first instinct was like, no, that's insane. That would never work. Like, physically, if you follow the laws of physics, it would never work. But, it's a goofy long shot, and I don't know, the atmosphere is weaker.
Yeah, and it's a jetpack sending up basically just a pair of clothes.
Yeah. And I
and a peach.
Yeah,
and a peach. There's one rule there that basically determined the full success of that. It was like a binary pass or fail.
Yeah.
I was nervous for that rule.
Yeah, me too.
There was like 3 or 4 rules where I feel like if we didn't do it, it was just game over.
I'm really surprised Derby didn't die. I thought Derby was dead in the water for sure. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I do have another.
That it was probably pretty generous on Matt's part that I didn't.
I think so too.
It was definitely generous. But I think I kind of like that no one died.
Yeah.
Sometimes stories don't need death to provide stakes. So
yeah, Zach. No more children dying.
That was not.
Zero children's died in this.
So my secret was that I knew that the FTL drive only had 2 jumps in it.
Yeah,
I had a secret. Yeah. Did neither of you have a secret?
My secret was that I was sleeping with Goldie Hawn.
Oh, that immediately was revealed.
So that was immediately revealed.
I don't think I had it. I was actually a horse, not a duck. I don't think I had a secret.
I don't think you had a secret. I was.
And Merle wouldn't. I mean,
Yes.
it makes sense.
So my
Yeah.
question is that didn't end up really coming into play, the 2 jump thing. What was your original plan with that?
I wanted there. I had no idea, honestly.
Yeah, I didn't know if there was going to be like an opportunity to go to multiple places, and I would have to like reveal that we couldn't do that or something like that, or.
I didn't know. I gave you that as a potential point of conflict in the future.
Yeah, no, I love it. Yeah,
I just didn't know. I had no idea how to play out.
I love it.
And then I also made it that the goldfish, the fish ship, had a broken FTL, which so I wanted those to be kind of juxtapositioned between each other.
And the big bass, the big bass fish. I still laugh thinking about that picture. That popped up.
It literally just looked like one of those like bass on the wall, but like in an astronaut outfit.
I was just thinking of what's the funniest fish? Largemouth bass. That's pretty
for
funny.
sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's it. It was
all right. Thanks, guys.
A lot of fun.
Just like
Thank you.
the session. Let's end it up.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning into this long shot.
We're gonna clip that and post it everywhere.
I do plan on like running these kind of things in the future, non D&D short session. I like that it's goofy, but I don't want it to be crazy goofy. I want it to be, there's some human stakes in some ways.
If you don't consider this crazy goofy, man, I don't want to crazy.
I mean,
honestly,
I agree. It was crazy goofy.
I do want to know. Take the brakes off, man. Just please run. Because everything you do
go full horse
been,
ice hot dog.
So yeah.
Mm-hmm. I DM a D&D campaign once a week, and it's a normal D&D campaign. I don't know if you can believe that. It's not really goofy at all. It's just like straight up fantasy.
I don't believe you. I think you're lying.
But I think my sensibilities lend to goofy a little bit, so I'm happy to stay.
I always love your long shots.
And your schlong shots.
Okay. Are you going to end the sentence there?
Shots.
Cool. I mean, that's all I got.
Oakley. Well, Matt, thanks, man. I thought that this was a fantastic long shot. I had a blast. Do you have any idea of any potential ideas for upcoming long shots that you can maybe tease?
My thoughts are
we won't hold you to it.
Yeah, like not I don't know how to explain this. Like not in the real world, but like maybe some like anthropomorphic non-real life creatures or something in those lines. I want it to be like
so you're a furry.
Yeah. I'm like I don't know, like you guys are like brave little toaster. Something like that.
Oh my god, that would be amazing.
Appliances,
yeah, like you guys are like I don't know, like a book and
Timmy
a
the
toast.
Tooth.
Yes,
Timmy
exactly.
The Tooth fan out there.
I don't know, some
bananas and pajamas. We're just naming kids shows now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't really thought of it past that.
I was just curious.
Okay, well, let's leave.